us down a few times yesterday.
Yeah.
So my inspector's out of the vehicle right now.
Yeah.
Let me deal with this real quick and I'll jump back in. Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Here's what real life investing looks like.
Oh, good. We're gonna go with it.
Cicely,
If I
it's so
miss
good to
something,
see
no,
you, honey.
Catherine, feel free to like jump in if I miss something.
No worries. Okay. So we're gonna start. Does everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Love it. You're speaking my language. Manufactured homes.
Right?
Oh, good.
Okay, so welcome everyone. This is Catherine with Titan Impact Group, and I'm super excited to be teaching you all another, well, I'm not going to teach you, but we have our experts on our team, the who's that know how to invest in this particular asset class. So I'm super excited to not only be learning myself, but have them be teaching you about this asset class that, again, another way to create multiple streams of passive income and for you to understand this. And so you don't need to understand all the, in depth of it, but you do need to have the who's that know how, which is really important. And so that's what we're actually going to be going over today. And really excited about that. So really quick before we get started, just have to go over the important things that here's what you need to understand is that when it comes to investing, you need to be doing your due diligence, no matter who you're investing with, making sure that talk through any investments that you do with the financial experts. This is the most important part. So everything that we share today is intended for educational purposes. Some of the examples we'll discuss include historical operating information and illustrations designed to explain how the business works. Historical performance, and projections are not guaranteed, and future results on all investments involve risk. So decisions should be based on your own due diligence and advice from qualified financial, legal, and tax professionals. So one of the things that we want to build with 7 Streams of Income Club is trust. And trust starts with being upfront. So alternative investments can be powerful additions to a portfolio. They can also involve risk. So today's goal is education. Our hope is that you leave with a better understanding of how alternative assets fit into a diversified strategy, not with the expectation that there's a risk-free investment waiting at the other end of the presentation. If today's conversation interests you, we'll simply invite you to continue learning with us. That's it. So now let's get talking about something that has changed so many people's lives, and we're really excited to be teaching you. So, core thesis, what are we talking about? What are we talking about today, Amor and Tommy? Tommy is, just to be clear, he's out on the job site, and this is what it looks like to be a a real estate investor and a business owner. It's that when inspectors call, when whoever calls, like, it's now, and we just got to drop everything and go handle it. And because we have a team around us, everybody gets to step up and take on their roles inside of it. So that's literally what we're doing on the job site, making it happen. And Amor is here, jumping in, and here she gets to teach us all about this amazing thing called pad splits. So anybody heard of pad splits? Raise your hand. Pad splits. So yeah, looks like Tommy is talking to, oh, there he is. Tommy, are you there? You're muted.
Yes, I'm still in with my inspection right now, but I'll be right back.
Okay, well,
cool.
I will jump in.
Yes.
My name is Amor Porter, and I am on a mission to really help support and solve affordable housing crisis that we see across our country. And today we're zooming in on a specific group of people and just an amazing way to solve and support the workforce who is out there working, trying to take care of their families and all of that. And many times they have to work in different places. They're miners, they're contractors, they're crews, they're truck drivers who really are supporting their family. And so they might have a house where they're supporting their family, but they need a place to stay while they're working. And so this is just an incredible, amazing, creative way in which we are creating opportunities to support them. And so many times we're going to talk about manufactured homes and people think about these cheap mobile homes and all of that. But I don't know if you have seen the amazing manufactured homes we have now, like you would never know or think like, oh, the cheap mobile homes that we thought about like years ago. And
Right.
they really are really beautiful, like 1,500 square feet. Many of them have 2 bedroom, 1 bath, or they can have 4 bedrooms, 2 baths homes that really meet the needs of workers who need a nice place to stay that's clean, that's safe while they're working. And so pad split paired with pad split, which is so amazing and such like I think like long time ago when we were in college, we think about like sharing rooms and all of that and where we have our individual rooms. And so we're just at an age right now where, hey, if I'm working and I'm away from my family, I don't want to have to rent a whole house and pay for my house for my family at home. I really just need a clean place to stay that is beautiful, that's safe. And so this is one of the answers, which is using manufactured homes to create co-living. And as an investor, you can really see where you're making rent per room versus rent for a house. And it can be 2 times to 4 times the income because you're now renting out each room. So let's talk a little bit more about just opportunities for that. And in this case study, where we've seen this study. Why do we need this? Well, as I shared, there's lots of companies that are hiring people and they need a place to stay. Or else, like, I don't know about you guys, but in the area I live in Florida, there is sometimes it's hard to get an immediate place to stay. There's like a wait list. And if you get a job tomorrow, you need some place to stay tomorrow. You cannot afford to be like, oh, I can't take this job because I have no place to stay. So we are providing solutions for that. And Catherine talks about that all the time. It's like, how do we look at the needs of the world around us and be able to provide solution and opportunities to those needs? And so, as we look at it as investors, it's one way for us to support, but it's also a way for us to support employers and people who need clean places and homes to stay. So as we look at this, let's see if we're about to get into some of the numbers. So this is in Arizona, an example of a place and where we see this happening and we see this worked out. And Tommy has been working on multiple places. As I was learning about like and talking to him about it, I really was like, wow, like this is truly happening across the country in Arizona, Florida, and places like that, where we're creating places where each bedroom is rented by qualified applicants at a reduced rate. So they don't have to pay the whole rent for one place. They can pay for just their bedrooms. And there also are places like in Arizona and here where there are also different town restrictions, which make housing like people not have enough housing. And so maybe they can only have a certain amount of housing in this area. And now one house can provide housing for 4 people. If it's a 4 bedroom, then that's 4 people who are able to have a house. Do you know anything about this area, Catherine? Have you ever been to
Yeah,
this part of Arizona?
this is actually really important to understand, especially with, and I'm sure it's happening in other parts of the country. I'm just present to what's happening here, like Baghdad, Snowflake, Arizona. The housing shortage is significant. And so again, when it's workforce housing, it's utilitarian. They're just needing a bed to sleep in. Again, hard workers, and then they want to go back to their family. They're not going to relocate their families to these areas where they have their job because, again, it's short-term work, right? And so that's why, again, with all the construction and development and growth that's happening, again, once it's built, they can go back and, live with their families, but it's a beautiful way for them to be able to provide for their families, but not have to uproot their families. And so this is a beautiful solution and it creates a win-win for everybody.
Well,
Yeah.
and to the point, I want to make sure that what's also noted here is that, for example, Baghdad, Arizona is 3 hours away from Phoenix. So you have a 6 hour per day commute for a guy that works in Baghdad. If
Yeah.
he travels 6 hours, he's working 12. That's 18 hours of his day gone outside of the house. How many hours you got left? You only got
Yeah.
6 left. So what are you going to do? Go home, eat, poop, sleep, like all the things you have to do while you're at home. Imagine doing all of that within 6 hours to get back in the car and drive 3 more. Right. So for
Yeah.
these guys,
Totally
it's
makes
it's
sense.
it's about the fact that they can go there. They work their 12 hours. They got a 20, maybe 30-minute commute to a house that they share with some of the guys they work with. So maybe they're sharing a ride to work, but they're back at the house and they've got 12 hours instead of 6 to recuperate, recover, and get ready to go back and do it again for 12 more hours. And so some of these guys, they do what's called a FIFO schedule where they'll work 3 weeks straight, 21 days straight, 12-hour days. And after that three weeks of work, the 21 days, they get 14 days off. And during their time off, they get paid. That's what they're told, is they're paid hourly for
Hmm.
staying home for 2 weeks. And what they're getting paid is the amount of money that would have went to their housing. So really, the company's not losing anything by doing that. And so as we get through the rest of this presentation, I'll jump back into it. I was able to break away from the inspector for a minute. I'm out at a job right now getting inspections done. But the key to this is, we can get into it later. I've got 5 properties right now out in the Baghdad, Salome, Wendon area where they've got gold mining operations happening. And those gold mining operations need miners. There's a presentation part of this where they went from 75 miners up to 160 in a quarter. Within 1 quarter, they were able to add that many new miners because we opened up some housing for them. So out in Wendon, we currently have 5 units with a total of 20 beds across the 5 units that we can bed up people. And here's the cool part. Each unit costs us about $600 a month, but it'll generate $1,500 to $1,800 a month after expenses. So go ahead and keep going through this. I'm going to jump back over to my inspector.
Yep.
I love
So
Tommy how
again,
he can go back and forth from
right?
like something to that. That is an expert.
Yeah. So, Morrisini, Arizona, again, they get an allowance and a stipend for being able to, have their housing because, again, a lot of these companies recognize
Hmm.
that, this is what's needed. I know, again, an experience we had, we've got property up in Snowflake, and as we're building affordable housing up there, the company, the major manufacturer up there, they need hundreds of employees, and the closest rental property that's available is like 2.5 hours away. And so they're clear as a company the issue. And so the company has already said, look, as a company, we will lease 75 of these houses so that we know that our employees will actually have a place to actually live that's within like 15 minutes of the facility. So again, company, you can partner with companies to be able to, make that arrangement to be able to help them out as well. So there's, again, the need is very, very real. And so thinking about this as workforce housing versus, transitional housing, it's just a different way of looking at it. Again, Florence, Arizona, another perfect example of, what's happening because of the growth and the mines and the construction and everything that's happening. So again, you can do the research on this, and Deal Hunter will actually help you be able to do the research,
Mhm.
or you can just work with the who's that know how. And this is going to be one of the asset classes available through our Seven Streams Investor Club. So again, just teaching you as you're building your portfolio. Again, another way to have monthly cash flowing assets as a part of your overall portfolio to bring able to bring stability. And again, you get to be a part of that curve of these growth areas that are happening, get out in front of it and be able to again be a part of a solution for it. But of course, you get as the investor, you get to benefit from it as well. So
Yeah,
again,
I think another thing too, Catherine, that's really amazing to me is one that many companies are paying, for the housing, like just their commitment about that. That's a pretty good perk to most people is, hey, we'll pay for your housing here while you're here so that you don't have to worry about that. And then as an investor, it's like, man, could you partner with different businesses to be able to provide this? I mean,
right.
it's just a really amazing opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the need is very, very real. And they know it's temporary, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, that's the other part. Um, so again, here's what's great is that it's very clean and simple and durable, right? So again, you get a locked bedroom. They
Mm-hmm.
get to share the common areas, the kitchen, laundry, Wi-Fi, parking, storage. There's rules, quiet hours, just like having a family, right? It's
Yes.
the same thing. You have your bedroom and then
Yeah.
you share the kitchen, the living room, like the laundry room, all of that. And you got rules. You got rules you
Yes.
gotta, abide by. Have respect, be kind, all the things. And then, of course, there's weekly inspections and making sure that the it's maintained. And
Mhm.
here's what I love about this is that because there's weekly inspections, is that you get to see your house on a weekly basis. Like you're not waiting like months and months. And I know we can all tell fabulous stories about renting to somebody for a couple years and coming in, you're like, this wasn't the house I rented you.
Right.
Where when you see it on a weekly basis, literally like that ability to get out in front of any issues that you're potentially having, again, keeps it maintained and all of that.
I think
So
another thing, could I say just one
yeah,
thing that I love about this co-living model is if one thing is one of the people who stays there could be your person who's like doing the weekly inspections and like they get a discounted rate because of course like you might not live in this area, like I know the ones that Tommy has and all that, he's not necessarily close to that area, but creating where one of the people who lives in that place could be the person who does the inspection, who's kind of your ear to the ground to know, hey, this is happening in the house, and also helping to enforce some of the rules. Because when you stay in a house and there's multiple people, like you want to make sure everyone's happy and gets what they need. And so many people might need to go to bed at a certain time. And so if other people are loud, like that really impacts your renters who are there. So if you're interested in investing in this type of like in manufactured homes that do co-living, it's the same thing that's set up like dorm living in a way where you have someone who's kind of monitoring it, doing some of the minor fixes that might need to happen in the home. And that way, like you don't have to pay someone to do that part if you're not right in
right.
that area.
Yeah, and when it's workforce housing, the other part is that everybody has the same basic schedule and commitment. Like you're there to work, you're there to you need to get a good night's sleep, all of that. So you're gonna be respectful of those other people who are living there as well. So it's a different level of
Always,
maturity and
not
of
always. I mean, you got time out. I'm back. My phone died because of how hot it is out. I mean,
Oh,
it is only like what 9 o'clock in the morning. It's already 104 outside. So
we are in
really hot out here.
Arizona.
you are in
We are in
Arizona.
Arizona. But the what we do is we don't make like an ad for any of our tenants to find us that way. Um, like we don't post an ad room for rent. We go to the company that's
Mhm.
coming to town and working. We'll go to the mine company. We'll go to the builder. We'll go to the contractor, and we'll say, or we even go to bidding websites. There's websites where they'll bid for housing,
Mhm.
and we'll talk directly with HR and say, we have room for 30 men. And they will make that a part of their employee package. And we are paid directly by the company instead of the guy. And then
Yeah.
that way, if anything happens, it goes back on the company. If the guy screws up, if the guy does something asinine, if there's a fight in the house, the
Mhm.
company deals with it. And all we do is get paid.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
because
good.
again, the companies, if they don't have workers, they can't they can't make a profit, right? And that is their job. So again, it's a win-win for everybody, which is really important. So let's talk about the revenue model.
Let's
So
talk
the
about the
whole,
money. The money
yes,
part.
the whole house rent versus room to room rental income. Again, this is the beauty of when you break things down smaller,
Mhm.
you can charge more. That's what it comes down to. So the whole house, you can usually rent these anywhere from between $500 to $800 a month. 3 bedroom room rent, you're looking at anywhere from 1,900 to $3,000 a month. 4 bedroom, 2,600 to 4,000. So same house, only the model is just different, right? And so
Mhm.
again, I would say do the numbers. Numbers tell you what to do.
Yep.
And again, understanding what type of investor you are. If you want to be a hands-on investor, this may be an option for you. If you want to be a passive investor, you can passively invest and have an operator who really knows what they're doing. But again, this is a beautiful way to understand the numbers and
Well,
how it.
I want to,
Yeah.
and you're right. I want to, the numbers tell you what to do, but a lot of people are like $1,000 a room per month. Like, are you
Mhm.
crazy, lady? Really? And
Well, what
and what
is
I
a
remind,
hotel?
well, and that's the exact example I like to use for people. And I say, well, let's go look at what it costs for a hotel room per night. And any
Mhm.
hotel
Per
room
month.
in any decent area, just do it per night. Watch what happens per night. If we do $80 per night in a hotel room, which is basically like low grade 2-star, maybe 3-star room, right? 80 bucks a night.
Mhm.
If I do 80 bucks a night times 30 days, 1 month, that's
$2,400.
$2,400 for one room.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So like when we're talking about $1,000 a month for one room, like that's 50 bucks. That's like 40 bucks a night. We're
Yeah.
Well,
literally
and
we're at
and then on
50%
top of it,
of, of
if
the
you
of the nightly hotel room.
right, and then on top of it, you have a kitchen versus in a hotel
Yeah.
room,
You can
they
cook.
typically
You can
don't.
do all of that.
Yeah,
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
yeah.
yep. So doing the math for these guys, and it's more so for our investors because our investors are going to call bullshit. They're going to like, how could you hide all these profits for this long? And it's like, well, we didn't. Like, people just don't think outside the box half the time, you know? And so when you're able to get 3x to 5x returns on these buildings and these houses that are literally less than 40, 50 grand, like we can buy 5 houses right now for under 100,000 that will produce $3,000 a month.
Yeah. And I think you have the numbers on the next screen, like all in basis. If you did a 3 bedroom,
Yeah.
Yep.
manufactured home where you buy or rehab and you rehab it, and you furnish it, because it doesn't even have to be a brand new manufactured home. It's like
No.
buying it, rehabbing it, and then furnishing it is.
And right, and that's why it's perfect for the Southern Streams Income is Southern Streams Club Investor Club, is because these types of houses are very hard to get loans on. They're called chattel loans, and so you're
Mhm.
getting a short-term, high-interest rate loan. Well, why not partner with a group of people and make them the bank instead of paying the bank 15%,
Oh,
20%? I mean, I'll show you my payments right now on the properties that I do have, but I use chattel loans to buy them. And a chattel loan is just basically like a car loan for a house. And so I got to pay it back in 5 years. It's 15, almost 20%. Like it's a high amount of interest. And if we're able to, and I'm able to afford it because I've still got a 2.0 plus DSCR. So yeah, if you go through the numbers, I can't see the slides because I'm driving, but um, here, yeah, showing the buy plus rehab plus furnish, you're able to see that your cash on cash is still double digits, you know,
right. Yeah.
and on a very low out of pocket jump in, right? Like your startup for these is under 100,000. You know, that's 10
Mhm.
people with 10K.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So it is a really good and creative way to not only solve and support people, but to also begin investing in real estate, right? Because people think when you invest in real estate, like, oh my goodness, I have to have like hundreds of thousands of dollars, for the down payment, all of those type of things. It's just a really creative way to also be an investor as well as providing this great solution to support others.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on to the next slide because I'd like to
Yeah. So
get
this is the
get to the
pad
good
split
part.
strategy, the acquisition playbook.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it shows that like what you're doing is you're taking a unit that has just say 1,200 square feet, and you're making four 300 square foot bedrooms in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then giving them a bathroom to share and a kitchen to share. You might want to buy two refrigerators, so that everybody splits a fridge. But a 3 room model and a 2 room model are very easy to accomplish, especially in these places, because literally they're just there to sleep. They're not there to have birthday parties. They're not there to watch football games and relax and recline. Like these houses are not built for the home life. They are built for the work life. That's why they're called employee housing. Go ahead,
And I
next slide.
So
really,
I can
yeah,
give
I
I
like the
can give a
next. I'm
clear
sorry.
example. So my adopted dad, so up in northern
Mhm.
Canada, he worked at a mine. He drove one of those ginormous dump trucks that could literally hold 6 Greyhound buses in the back. Like
Yeah.
it was insane. It was a driving around in a building. But where they were, literally there was nothing there. There was like a tiny
Mhm.
little town. And so they did a pad split. And again, it was on a rotation of how these guys were working. Like Tommy said, like he worked this many days on, this many days off, and somebody else came in and lived there this many days on, this many days off. And it was a rotating cycle with several men that worked in this mine. And when they were off, they drove several hours to actually go be back with their families.
Mhm.
So again, very, very typical. And they did that for years and it was what it was and it worked for them. It worked for the families. So again, it was a beautiful model. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
love in there.
operations.
Catherine, I
Yeah.
was just wondering if we could hone in just for a few minutes on, like, if you wanted to do this as an investor. I love on the slide where it's like, okay, where would you find these older manufactured homes, or like through estate sales or tired landlords and stuff like that, how you could really get a deal on the manufactured home. But like the important things you got to keep in mind is like how far is it from the job site, all of those parking, zoning, and all of those things, just that you need to keep in mind as an investor.
Well, and I think, and to go into that, that's why we have the Deal Hunter AI
Mm-hmm.
due diligence platform, like because it helps build out that plan for every investor and all the risk factors involved. And so when we go into launching the fractional investor club, and we get deals like this that come along, we're going to have a fully built out due diligence report that shows market analysis. Like, why are we 20 miles away from the job site? Because anywhere closer, there's not enough utilities. We have to spend more money to get water, sewer, and electricity. So being 20 minutes away from the job site in this little old ghost town area where there's only a population of 450 people, there's literally 50% vacancy of all the houses out there. Again, remember what Catherine said. These people don't want to buy the whole house. They just want to live in a room for 5 days a week, or 3 days, 3 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So going out to these little towns outside those areas where they're working, we find that on Deal Hunter by Landshark. And Deal Hunter by Landshark will say, here's a town. Like right now, there's a gold mine in what's called Eagle Eye Mountain, right next to Wendon, Arizona, where I have 5 properties with over 20 beds. And so, and what I'm doing is I'm strategically placed 20 miles away because there's a hotel 30 miles away that charges $80 a night. I'm charging $50 a night.
Right.
And so this detail, all these details to all this comes through using Deal Hunter by Landshark to do our due diligence, to do our asset management, because that's really what it comes down to. Is this is an asset management situation as well, because once we buy it and we invest in it, we got to keep that door flowing. We got to keep the cash flow flowing. And the only way to do that is make sure the beds are never empty. So going out to the area, finding that 50% of the market is vacant property, it's a matter of finding the best ones, cream of the crop, the ones that need the least amount of work possible to start turning cash flow on. And we do that with we can do that with pre-estimates. Another great tool that the Seven Streams Income investor group gets access to by becoming a member of the investor club. So
again, that's where asking the better question, the who that knows how, and all the tools that they use to be able to source them, underwrite them, rehab, operate, and scale it. So that's
Deal Hunter will provide you with a complete list of available properties on market and off market in those areas, and it'll validate like this company's who's coming to town. And the thing is those companies make announcements. Hey, we're going to be digging in this part of Arizona, and so all you got to do is set up your perimeter and start shopping.
Yep. So let's talk about risk control. So risk control to protect the investor in the community. So there's zoning, occupancy, utilities, septic, tenant turnover, employer dependency, and reputation. So the big thing is we don't pitch these as boarding houses, right? This is clean workforce housing for people who are working in rural, economic pathways, so to speak. So again, like Tommy said, making sure that we understand the zoning, make sure we understand the septic, the utilities, all of that, and then being able to manage the turnover. So when you have a system in place to be able to manage that effectively and efficiently, that absolutely matters. But again, getting the employer involved is a really big deal, because then there's that extra layer of accountability and everybody working towards the same thing, which is really important. So how it fits into the Seven Streams Investor Club. So Amor, do you want to talk about this?
Yes. So one thing that is important about the Seven Streams Investor Club is we're really trying to help people have multiple streams of income. And so with this one, we're really looking at, there will be small homes under 1,500 square feet. They're cash flowing. So we see immediately by getting them, like we're really meeting the needs of miners, of farmers, of construction workers. And that's really important to us with my Seven Streams. Like we, of course, want to add commas, but we most importantly want to make an impact and support those and provide solutions to people who are in need. And then this is very scalable, just as Tommy talked about, having multiple manufactured homes in an area and partnering with a business to be able to reach more people and provide housing. It can also be a regional strategy. Like, there's specific regions where, there are places needed for miners or place farms or construction workers. And so it's a very scalable model, which we really believe will help not only people learn about this and how to do this, but also just help people be able to make a bigger impact across the country.
Yep, absolutely. And fulfill a need, right? Like
Yeah.
it's when you understand the bigger economic need that's needed and how this actually fulfills on that need and fills that void, this is a really big deal. This is another beautiful way of leaving every person, property, and community better than we found them, right?
Definitely.
So, investor takeaway. So, um, the best pad splat deals, again, like it says here, they're not bought because they're cheap. They're bought because there's a housing need, right? And it's a way, again, to fulfill that need and to be a good operator, and make sure that, again, you have a good reputation, that you really are taking care of these workers. Because at the end of the day, it's these blue collar workers at the end of the day that are literally the backbone in building this country.
Oh,
So
so,
we want to make sure that they're taken care of and provided for. I mean, again, they're hardworking people, for the most part, just good, hardworking people. So this is a
Well,
way
and
to,
and to that point, Catherine, I want to add to this that there's a lot of people, and I'm not trying to be political in saying this, but there's a lot of people that are like, oh, anti-Trump because of the tariffs, right? And the tariffs bad tariffs. This is an example of what tariffs do. This is why workforce housing is becoming a necessity, is because we have so much what we call domestic development, the GDP. It is gross domestic product development, and we are here producing a lot of our own products and stuff now. Oil, um, uh, rare earth minerals, gold, silver, copper. Like they basically said, coppers, pennies no longer need copper pennies. Like everything's going to be rounded to the nearest 5 cents. Why? Because copper is now a precious metal. Okay, we're no longer we don't have gold coins, right?
right,
We,
right.
we we don't have silver, we don't have silver dollars anymore. They're nickel. Nickel's cheaper, right? So with all that being said, this is a byproduct of something that a lot of people were poo-pooing on. But here's the example, you know.
yep, absolutely. So, uh, oh, these are just the notes from where we came up with
So
all the
yeah, I think we just go to the next slide where we're
Yeah,
just talking about the
those
investors
are the
that.
sources. Yeah, those are the
Oh,
sources to which we pulled the information from about Morenci, and I used Arizona because I'm currently out there doing it. We've got a tiny house manufacturer that supposedly had 600 contracts for houses. I was supposed to plant those houses around Baghdad mine, Morenci mine, the Eagle View mine. So, and it's because we are now mining the lithium and the cobalt and all the rare earth minerals that we need for our cell phones and our chip manufacturers. So it's been a pleasure to talk about something that's been making me money for the last 8 years. And I look forward to being a valuable asset to the investor club if and when they decide to invest in something like this.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk about the Seven Streams Investor Club, who this is for. So our ideal members are people between the ages of 35 and, 45, even older if they want. Long-term investment horizon. Again, this isn't a get rich quick. This is thinking long-term, like building a family or planting a garden. It takes a long time. and that they're comfortable exploring alternative asset classes. Again, one of the things that, again, that I'm proud of myself for doing in hindsight is over the last 20 years being involved in so many different asset classes, from wholesaling to fixing and flipping, buy and hold, vacation rentals, mobile home parks, RV parks, triple net lease, commercial medical office. Like, we've done so many things again, and the only way I did it is because I partnered with the who's that know how to be able to do all of these things. And this is one more way of doing that in a community environment, everybody coming together to do that. And so you have to be able to allocate between $10 and $100,000 depending on the future opportunities. And we'll talk deeper about that in an actual investor club meeting. Who it's not fit for. Anybody looking for guaranteed returns. Again, like I started out this call with, anybody looking for guaranteed returns, it's not going to fit. Like, I don't care what investment you're a part of, if unless you have a crystal ball, it doesn't matter. Like, things can go sideways. That's the reality of it. Now, we don't want that, but again, we plan for it. Any short-term speculators, again, this isn't that, right? Like building a family or planting a garden, it takes a long time. And investors requiring immediate capital liquidity. Again, that's not what this is for. So you want to think about this in the long term and how it's going to grow. So if this is something that you are interested in, we invite you to consider scanning that QR code there that's on the screen. And it will let us know that you're interested. You'll be invited to future meetings that we're going to be launching here in the next couple of weeks and diving into more about how the actual club works and how to create multiple streams of passive income. Again, my goal is to have every single person have 7 streams of passive income. Why? Because 7 streams of passive income is what the average millionaire has. So my thought is, if you do the same thing that they do, you should get similar results, right? And it also, by having 7 streams of passive income, it also helps protect you and your family against the 5 Ds: death, divorce, diagnosis, downsize from the economy, or being dumped from your jobs. Again, we don't have crystal balls, but again, we can, make sure that you're planning for your future, right? So people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. And this is a way to build a plan, again, consistently, one baby step at a time, to be able to build this around you. So scan that QR code, and we are going to have more of these, educating you on more of the different asset classes. And so with that, if anybody has any questions, now would be the time to ask any questions, because I know more Tommy and I have done all the talking. So Laura, I don't know if we have quick people asking questions in the, I can't see the chat doohickey. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording.
I
Okay,
don't see any questions in the chat.
okay, beautiful. Okay, so with that, thank you all for coming. And I look forward to teaching people more about these 7 streams and all the different asset classes. I hope that this was valuable. A whole different
Yes.
way to think about, an asset class that most people just want to forget about. So awesome. Okay. Tommy, are we gonna jump over to Deal Hunter?
No, and we can deal hunter tomorrow.
Okay.
We've got to prep because we got a 10 o'clock meeting today that's going to be coming up with that sales company. I don't know. I read this morning it said 10 Mountain, and I'm concerned because when we filled out the form, we told them 10 o'clock Arizona time, and everyone assumes Arizona's in Mountain time. So I'm praying that
Oh, yeah, probably.
that call didn't get jacked up because they're, you know,
Well,
Some
let
of
me
us
internet.
outside of Arizona time get confused.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go figure it out.
All right,
Thank
cool.
you everyone for coming. Hope you have an amazing day. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all tomorrow.
All right, talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Fine.
Bye.
How do I-